let's see. Bit of a brief rundown from the last session, so we all know where we are, and then we can pick up right directly into the action. So, we started last time with an insight into the Ironmonger's table. Akaya, having earned the interest of one of the members, you had been brought in to have a conversation. That conversation quickly turned into the recent ongoings, and having been impressed by your perspective and opinions, it seemed that Cadmeo had decided to fund an expedition to check into the strange rumors and words that had been reaching Mictlan Kos's borders. Immediately, a call was made the following day, which proved to be beneficial for all parties in the campaign, giving Torsten a chance to raise your concerns about the changes happening in the marshlands, Anister an opportunity at what would hopefully finally be the big push to move you off from being just a second in local investigations and securing your future as lead in future cases. For the rest of you, doesn't necessarily have many benefits as you've been mostly following Torsten recently, but a chance to further investigate the marshlands, and for one of you, maybe a chance to get back at those that had recently destroyed your village. This being enough, you all signed up for what would be the expedition, led by Akaya, Torsten as the lead navigator, very familiar with these swamps, and Anister as the local investigator who can, we'll say, a second account on all happenings. In any case, you were off. Before leaving Mictlan Kos, you all would have noticed a couple of things. A number of bodies heading towards the crematory forges, more than average by a large amount. Anister, you took the chance to investigate and noticed that all of the bodies had a strange rune carved into them. One of necromantic origins, but unsure of the mark any further than that, as far as any more details you could pick up. Manon and Akaya, the two of you would have noticed a strange cloaked figure watching you all as you exited the Iron Hall, and as you stood and kind of talked about your plan forward, they would have kept a watch the entire time, going so far as to when you approached, letting you get just close enough before deciding to try and slink away. You would have followed for a bit of time, but when they ducked down a side alley that posed to potentially have more danger than, any advantage that an interaction with this figure might have been, decided to turn back and reunite. And so, the five of you deciding to head on out, reunited, shared all the information, and then went about your way. Maybe, handling one last thing in the city or two as far as securing whatever supplies you might have needed on the way. As you made it to the outskirts of the city, you would have noticed that there was a long line of people looking to get into the city, but not a long line of people getting out. In fact, because you were walking, you simply made your escape. So, as you exited, went about...
But there is hope for you yet.
Let's see. Okay. So as you exited, went about, and continued on your travel, for the most part, it was open kind of land until you reached the wooded portion. As you made your way through, you would have seen a figure on a horse, a scout of the Ironmonger's table, or Mictlan Kos, however you wanted to view it, covered in blood. The horse they were riding had streaks of blood on it as well. And so as they ripped on by, having seen this, it put you all on edge for what was potentially coming up. Thankfully, though, the rest of the passage through the wooded area was without issue. And as you reached the opposite side, it was here where you had to make a decision. Look directly into going to where the rumored site of the Hungering Star, where it had landed on Calor, or potentially looking at a small, kind of a stop-in, almost like a work village more than anything, a work site, I guess you could call it, for a recent disappearance, right? The entire work site, or whatever it would be called, just kind of gone overnight, or at least within the couple of nights that Torsten had passed by. With this decision hanging, you decided to make your way to the village, hoping to maybe garner a bit more clues about what was going on, see what was happening. And so you started to push your way through the marshland, it now kind of opening up to you completely. The tall reeds and grass of this area was made it very difficult, but having a guide of Torsten certainly helped as he navigated the way for you all, even helping you avoid what would have been certainly been a treacherous sinkhole within the swamps itself. And so, having traveled for quite a bit, pushing yourselves physically to the limit, you decided to get some rest as evening came. You rested around a small fire on a drier bank of the marshlands that you now found yourself in, and decided to take watch. As you went around taking watch, it seemed things were okay. Right. For the first watch, everything went well. For the second watch, there was a weird notice, a strange, pale white arm kind of reaching through the reeds, but all along the ground, right? Kind of laid out. A bit of investigation, but ultimately, not your. You didn't want to be the one to take the risk on what may come with it, right? And so, passing on, you gave it to Obak, who took the third watch in the middle of the evening. Obak, you went over, you stabbed your Gusarm into the hand itself. Seemed like nothing happened. Decided, okay, that's about enough. You returned until you started hearing some strange sounds, reeds kind of shaking and moving. Seemed to be off in the direction of this strange pale white arm that nobody wanted to really give a chance at looking into. So you approached again, this time using the weapon to kind of split through the reeds and see what you could find. And as you kind of started to push and pull, that's when it happened. A number of these pale white arms sort of shot up through the reeds, grabbing a hold of your blade or your weapon, giving you just the barely amount of time to pull it back, not losing it to the strength of these numerous arms. Also filling a hand, what seemed to be gripping around your boot, seeming to take you under, right? Trip you off of your feet. Thankfully, you were also able to, just feeling the nails of the hand rake against the bottom of your boot, kind of step back, and for a moment, seeing as this mound of reeds started to arise in front of you, hearing like that's a weird way to phrase it. The sucking of the mud as whatever object was embedded in this area of the marsh just started to lift and pull away. And so, as we get into it, let's see, switch to the scene appropriately. And I think we will okay. So I think we shall start. If everybody could go ahead and let me know if you see things well enough, if everything pops up appropriately, how well it looks for you, etc., etc.
Yeah, I can see all fine. But GM, just before we begin, I assume because we're sleeping,
you would have
you're not
woken
wearing
from the
our
sound.
armor.
But yeah, you are not
Yeah,
wearing
yeah,
armor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you wanted to get
Am I wearing armor at least?
I think you chose to don it, right? I think you purposely put it on. So I think you're good to go. But I think everybody else. Yes. But yeah, to get the benefits of a long rest, right? An evening's rest, you have to take off your armor unless you have comfortable armor, I think, which I'm assuming that nobody has at this moment, but again, if you had it, then I'll trust that you had it. But I don't think you can get it this early unless it's like a specific ask. So perfect, there we go. So let me get some music going and then we shall roll initiative. So the first fight of this campaign, or rather this campaign cycle. So let's see. Let me switch everybody over so we can start rolling while I take a handle on the other end of things. There you go. So the way to roll initiative, and if you want to, Pathfinder specifically has it in play that if you want to use something else, right, to kind of what is this? Okay, sorry. But if you wanted to use a different, I think everything is based off of your perception. But if you want to use another skill to kind of help with your perception, you know, like rather to help with your initiative, right? You know, maybe you use a different skill to like justify jumping into the fray, right? Like athletics to jump up, right? To get right into the action. So you are free to pick a skill to work as your initiative rather than just a basic perception check. So. All right. Okay. So, the way to roll initiative. Nice.
Luck is continuing from last time.
That's unlucky. So,
It can be any skill.
yeah, any skill. As long as you kind of justified, right? If you're using like something super, you know, cheesy, right? Like say for instance you had like a very high religion, kind of using that in a place where it doesn't really fit is kind of, you know, like a cheesy move. So as long as you can justify the use of the skill rather than perception, but the default is perception, right? Because it's, you know, like based on sight and how you. There we go. Okay, so we begin. Oh damn. So, well, I have your screen name here rather than the character's name. Let me update that. Should be on the token side of things. I want to make sure I'm not like saying Sir Nunos rather than Torsten each time.
Sure.
I try to refer to you. So Torsten. There we go. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. So, as we jump into the encounter, starting off, damn, I really didn't think this shade through. The lack of sight, but it's all good. So, as you see this figure rise up out of the swamp, Obok, since you are right up close next to them, and they haven't been kind of shaded by, you know, you're right there. You see underneath them. You also have dark vision, I believe, right? So you see perfectly well, I think, in this moment. You see these 6 long limbs, like legs, kind of almost like a hexagon, kind of like pushing up, and this like strange large beast pulling itself free from the mud as it kind of looks down at you. See in its hand, it kind of like pulls out this random log that it had lifted as it rose, and is going to make a big swing in your direction. So as the first strike.
What?
That targeted you, unfortunately. That is a crit. Fuck, dude. All right, man. Sorry.
How better to start it off?
I better to start off with 27 damage
All right, I'm down.
as you are knocked prone. There we go. All right, and so instantly dropped. Let's see. There we go. Did not give you the dying and stuff like that. Okay. Oh, because you are a dying one. There we go. Okay, so it raises itself, and just this heavy bash as it flings itself. It's this long log, and the log, as it blasts against you, Obak, it kind of splinters and erupts out. The log just just evaporating in this creature's hand as it just sprays these chunks of rotten wooden log. And the creature is going to lean over the body of Obak, right? Like hunching down towards it as the remainder of its turn. So, Torsten.
To a stalled start. Torsten will sort of cry. Will kind of cry, "Oh, Buck! Everyone have to help him!" And he's going to just step forward here with I think just a step action.
Okay.
And I think I should be exactly 30 feet away from him.
100%.
And I'm going to go ahead and cast the following spell. I'm going to cast a heal with 2 actions.
Perfect. Okay.
So heal versus living.
Very nice.
I'm not sure. It's not heightened, but it's the 2-1, so I should hit +8 to this. I'm not sure if this will work or not.
That's
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
right. So I heal him for 14 HP.
Immediately healed back up. So there you go. So you are no longer dying, but you are wounded, I believe. There we go. Still flat-footed and all that stuff. Wounded. Okay. All right. So yeah, immediately jumping into the fray, right? You jump right up, cast this spell off in the direction, ensuring that at least for the moment, Obak still lives, although unconscious. Is that how it works? If you're healed,
no, he's awake.
You'd be awake. Okay.
He's wounded 1.
Okay, absolutely, yeah. So, from your perspective, Obak, the world goes, you just get hit by this freight truck, the world goes black, and then, you jump right back to, like, and you're looking up, and you see this, like, strange skeletal kind of figure just, like, looming as it slowly pulls itself closer to you. So, Anister.
How long would it take me to put my armor on? Would it be just a single action, or?
I think donning your armor is actually like multiple minutes, so it would be like a big choice. I think you'd be taking yourself. Let's see. Yeah, getting out of armor is time consuming, so make sure you're wearing it when you need it. It takes 1 minute to don light, 5 minutes to don heavy, so yeah, it would be. Yeah, way too much.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my rapier and healing tools, slap that on, and then I can't remember what my movement is right off the top of my head.
Your movement is I think unless it's
30.
It's 30. Yeah.
30.
So.
Right.
So yeah. So one action. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna move there then.
Okay. All right. So grab your. We'll say you probably kept it on you, but didn't keep the armor on. I would say is fair. So you jumped up and then rushed on over. Okay. Perfect. All right. So you're jumping into the fray, armorless, and you just see this strange figure. Basically, to you, well, you have low light vision. To you, so you see much of this figure, right? The swamp kind of muck hanging off the various parts of its body. So you see it leaning in. Fuck! I should have done the same thing here. Let me update this. Manon. There we go.
Okay. So, what I was thinking, I've got 25, so it could get me to there if I use warp step. I would like to, how do I, I'm in ruler, sorry.
No problem.
I would like to cast warp step.
Okay. So, when you walk, the earth warps beneath your feet. Alright, so you gain a +4 status bonus to your speed, and then you stride twice. Okay, perfect.
So it should get me to, like, here, if I'm correct. I can't do math.
Let's see.
Yes. Here.
Yeah, because it should be 30, and then you get 2, so you should have 60, I believe, on this turn, right? Because you get the
Yes.
stride action twice. Yep. So 60 feet.
Okay. And then I will draw my rapier. And
Okay.
then my turn. Well, does that puts me in Arcane Cascade, correct? 'Cause I casted a spell.
Let's see. Arcane Cascade.
What's an action for Arcane Cascade?
I don't know.
You can enter a special stance. So yeah, I believe you use your most recent action. Oh no, actually the requirements is you use your most recent action to cast a spell or make a strike. It doesn't have, or it doesn't look like it has a action attached, right? Oh no.
Okay.
It does have an action attached, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to make the
Then-
conscious decision.
I will
Um,
instead draw my weapon and then end my turn.
Okay. All right. And so, Akaya. As everybody rushes into the fray, right? The sound of this wood splintering against Obak.
Up. I
think-
will move up to here.
I think I'll do that.
And
I don't like how little light there is. Alright.
cast Forbidding Ward. upon
Forbidding Ward.
Obok.
Alright, so you ward an ally against the attacks. So they gain the spell effect of Forbidding Ward.
Yep. So Obok feels a bit of confidence looking at the beast, feeling like he might fare a little better than before.
Alright, perfect. Okay, so
Unless I get it again.
yes, yeah, unless you get in again. But that is the end of Akaya's turn. So, round 2. Obak, as this creature leans over you, right? It has no eyes, no emotion to work with as it just slowly, yeah. What are you doing?
Is it a move action to just simply stand up from prone, or would I also then still have movement after?
It would, yeah. To stand takes an action to remove prone.
All right. Well, I'll just do that. Simply stand to my feet.
All right.
And I guess I will just swing at this thing.
Yeah, you've got 2 more actions. So I think technically when you go under, you would have dropped. So yeah. So
Do I
I
have to
think
pick up my weapon?
yeah, when you go down. So I think it's you stand up, you lift your weapon, and then you can strike. So you can still strike at the very least.
Well, someone needs to do some sort of damage to this thing, so
What's
I will
that?
attempt to just strike it.
Oh, to target.
Oh, I have to do
That-
the alt thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, if you just hover over the token and hit T, that is how you target. A 28 is going to be enough to crit this thing. So, returning the favor as it slams into you. You say, "What the fuck?" You stand up, right? And you give it a taste of its own medicine. Correct. So, yeah, using the Guisarm. Is there a specific damage type this does? Because I know it has like, I don't know if it's on purpose, if it has like the whole, it's slashing, correct?
Pretty sure it's slashing. Yeah.
Slashing. Okay. All right. Just making sure for resistances and weaknesses and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slashing.
All right. Perfect. So yeah, stand back up. Being brought down, right? Laid low. And how does this, I guess, describe the attack? I mean, it's a fucking crit, dude. How do you know?
Upon standing back up to his feet, so this thing has like a bunch of arms coming off of it.
Indeed.
correct? Or is it-
Yeah. Like a number of limbs.
So, kind of as he stands up, Obak will kind of reach over to the side, picking up his pole arm and swing a large arc, lopping off a couple of the arms, screaming out, "Ah, you fucker!"
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Even we'll even say Minona as you like approach, right? As he swings, you just have to duck down as the Gusarm just swings by overhead, slashing through a number of these limbs, and as the arms and the limbs kind of go falling all around, it's not going to be. You're going to see the creature kind of reel back, but there's almost this strange lack of reaction, despite having a number of limbs kind of cleaved through Obak. So, all right. Back to the large creature. It was at first it was kind of leaning over you, but as you kind of stood back up, and as you attacked, it kind of reared itself back, and now underneath it, those limbs. So the creature is going to move once. I will say, any type of manipulate action or move action or anything. Even if they don't leave your reach, still will give you the attack of opportunity, Obak. But the creature's going to move here purposely, like try to get closer.
So I will make an attack of opportunity.
Perfect. All right.
And that doesn't have a map applied to it? It's just like as a reaction, it's a fresh attack? Or?
Yeah, it's a fresh attack. Yeah, that'd be the fresh hit. This one, unfortunately, though, as the creature moves, the legs are all kind of, just kind of jumbling in the way. And as you try to make the second follow-up strike, a limb just kind of hits the pole arm part of the Gusarm a little early, right? Without letting you get the chance to like really put some weight into it. So as the creature kind of steps forward, the new face approaching, it is going to rear back, and as it does, these strange like hooves are going to lift up out of the ground and just look to slam right into your chest. Went on. So that is a hit, and you take 16 points as it rears back and both the hooves just kind of come clapping down, just like two heavy punches to the chest, onto Mano, and then so move, attack, and then I think it is going to stride after this. As it kind of leaned up, attacked. The creature's kind of going to look up and look around it and see like Annister, Torsten, and Akaya kind of closing in. So the creature is going to move. So it shall move. I think it's going to head kind of over here and down into the water a bit. We'll say there. All right. That'll be its action.
Is Manon okay after taking that hit? I mean, do we see them still standing?
I think Manon is still standing. What does 16 do to you, Manon? Takes you close, but I don't think to the edge, right? That's just let's see. Let's see, damage. Okay, so yeah, they're 1 HP. So, standing, reeling, but there regardless. So, all right. Torsten.
Okay. Wow, the player party's very, very beaten up. So what will Torsten do here? Does the thing look as if it's retreating, or is it just moving about?
It's hard to say because the intelligence of this creature is undetermined in this moment. But as it kind of moves, it seems to move with like a defensive nature.
Okay, well we'll play it safe. Torsten is going to use one of his focus points.
Okay.
To cast good berries here. And he's going to take a berry out of his pouch and just infuse it with magic. And then he'll use his move action here to just move next to Manan. And that will end his turn.
Okay. All right. So, imbue, turning into. Okay, so you have it, and then perfect. All right, nice. So, Annister,
Okay.
seeing all of this happen.
Yep. I'm gonna move down here to Manon, and then I am gonna do battle medicine.
Okay.
My Discord glitched, so I did not get any of what happened.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I come back and I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
watching the Foundry and I was like, wait, what's happening? What's happening?
yeah.
'Cause I couldn't hear anything.
You got smacked real good.
Yeah. The double hoofs. Was it just? All right. So, and so you move up, Annister.
Yes. And I'm gonna
Oh,
wound
yeah. Tree wound.
my battle medicine.
Okay, so I will say, just to be completely safe here, and just as a reminder in case anybody isn't familiar with Pathfinder, if you critically fail this medicine check to treat wounds, I think you will kill Manon, because the Manon will take a certain amount of damage, and Manon is at 1, so
Right.
Manon will be dropped. I'm just saying it's. Obviously, I just wanted to be, just in case. It's like, hey, wait a minute. It's like just in case that, that natural, just in case that natural 1 gets rolled,
Right.
But either way,
All right. I'm gonna roll it because I don't think I'm gonna hit that 1.
fair enough.
And if I do, I apologize in advance.
yeah. Perfect.
there we go.
Perfect. Big success. So you are healed up, Manon, by 7. So, and as you rush forward, right,
God
quickly,
bless you.
quickly patching the wounds, or the, kind of like, 2 bludgeoning attacks. Maybe the bludgeons themselves kind of opened up like a wound, right? Like from being hit too hard, there's like a cut, and now blood is kind of starting to pool, and you just kind of rush forward and place some bandages of some sort, right, covering up the wounds. All right, so I believe battle medicine is a single action. So you moved, you healed, you got 1 more action.
I'm gonna move right about. If I get right, can you see my character?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see where I'm going
Mhm.
right here. I'm gonna go right there and trying to block the view between me and the creature right quick.
Yeah, I'll say it gives you like quarter cover. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll say it gives you a bit of
that's
cover.
what I'm gonna do.
Fair enough. All right. Manon kind of rushed in, the 2
Hi.
hooves, but immediately, right, you've had a couple of allies rush to your aid. So,
Let me double check real quick. Yeah. Okay, so I'm still targeted. I'm gonna cast Tanglefoot.
okay. So, attempt a spell attack against the target. Perfect. Just narrowly misses, unfortunately. So, unaffected, unfortunately. So you reach out, and it almost seems like this, like the tanglefoot that you're using, right? You're kind of there's vines, they're kind of thin air, but maybe they're also coming from the swamp themselves, right? And kind of like seeming to target this creature. And for whatever reason, it seems this creature has some sort of affinity with the marshlands, the swamps. So as it kind of like just moves its feet in such a almost like an unnatural but completely knowing of the attack way, right? As the feet just kind of shuffle underneath it to avoid the tangle.
Okay. And then my last action, I'll go into
Arcane Cascade, absolutely. All right, there you go. What damage type?
Just my rapier. So I think it's piercing? Question mark.
Piercing. Well, actually, it's actually Let me see. Piercing. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, conjuration spell's the same type as the weapon, so piercing.
Yeah, there
Yes.
you go. All right. So. All right. So with that, Akaya.
Alrighty. I will. Oh, hang on. Am I in range? Yes. I cast. Phase Bolt
Okay.
upon the thing.
All right. Definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage there. So on success, you do critical success, double damage. Okay. Your phase bolt temporarily sends the target's cover out of phase if it hits. Oh, so if it was to be in cover, it would act as if it's not, I believe.
Yeah.
On a success, reduce the target circumstance bonus to AC, if any, by 1 until the beginning of your next turn. Okay. Alright, so. Yeah, the phase bolt kind of pierces the air, slamming into the creature. You see it kind of turn with the force of it.
It's my last action. I will just move over here.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so. Obak.
Alright. Use sudden charge to take off in a sprint to right there.
Alright.
And then with that I'll make a strike.
Big hit. Go ahead and roll damage. Alright, nice big hit. So you rush forward, jumping through, right? Going, like, speeding past the creature and then turning and in a swift motion, bringing all of that force with you as you slash into the creature's back. Alright.
Lots of big swings with this pole arm.
For sure, for sure.
And then I will attack for my last action.
I believe missed. Does
Sudden charge is 2, so I should still have a third.
no, I'm curious if it acts. Never mind. I was wondering what it did to the map, but it just acts as one.
I'm
so
pretty
it's not-
sure it applies. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it added it to it.
Fair enough. All right, so you go to swing a secondary, right, to follow up with the first attack.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, though, the creature's kind of turning, ready for the oncoming swing. So, all right. So, okay. All right, the creature, the mini legs of this creature are, I'm gonna say at a glance, they are kind of bowing. Like the weight of the creature is a bit much, right? Holding it up still. Maybe it is growing weaker. It is hard to tell exactly, but with that, the legs are kind of bow for a quick moment before the creature is going to look to rush away, and it is going to attempt to trample. So, it gets double its speed as well. Its speed is 40, so that'll be 80 feet of movement.
As it runs out of my range, I'll get an attack of opportunity on it quick.
Indeed. Yeah, so go ahead and roll that up.
Let's go.
Very nice. Very nice. And to do 2 fucking crits back to back. Okay, so it takes...
I'll try to, as I see its legs kind of bowing to tense up to spring away, I'll attempt to cut off a one of them, a couple of them, whatever I can manage.
Absolutely. So, all right. So, do indeed. And so, just as the creature is about to bound forward, looking to trample, and you could see the direction the figure was pointed in, was specifically looking to possibly round around and trample over both Akaya and Annister before maybe turning and getting the others. In any case, before it has that opportunity, as the legs bow from underneath it, you just take a massive swing and you just hamstring it completely along the back row of its legs, taking 3 off. And with that, the body just kind of lurches forward from the like sprung in force from the forward legs that you did not hit. But as it does so, it like momentarily shoots out, and it would for a moment, possibly Annister and Akaya, the two of you watching, you would have like seen maybe in a moment of fright as it like lurched forward and threw itself basically like an additional 15 feet just closer to you before the body just slams down into the marsh and goes completely flat as the mud and water stuck all around it just kind of starts to slide as the creature just moves all that mass with the weight of its body. And so this encounter is over. So
Well, that sucked.
so yeah, this creature just kind of comes to a complete stop. Couple of people were beaten up, well, 2 people unfortunately, the others potentially saved from whatever the trample of this creature's legs might have done to them. But so what's going on?
Obak will hop up on this log and cross over the bit of water, avoiding further dirtying himself. He'll walk over and stab the creature a couple more times, a little unsure,
Yeah.
seeing as it didn't respond the first time he stabbed it.
Fair enough.
It may be playing dead.
Sure enough, yeah. The old the Trill classic, dude. You know better, yeah. But yeah. So you approach, you just press your Gusarm into it like over and over, ensuring that the creature's dead, and it doesn't seem to have any sort of reaction or response to the attacks made into it.
After he's sure, Obak will kind of just like wobble back over to his bedroll and just plunk down, exhausted, pretty battered from having gone down, and he'll nod in thanks to Torsten. He saved my life. I owe you yet again.
Oh, don't mention it. Don't mention it, lad. But here, to eat this, and he'll take the berry and put it into your hand.
Obak will happily chomp down on it.
And one for you, lass, as he'll say as he casts the spell again and tosses the berry over towards Manon.
What is it?
It's a good berry. Good for what ails you. It'll heal your wounds. It'll keep your stomach full.
That does sound good. Then Menon will eat it.
Okay, and it's 1 second here. Sorry, excuse me. It is it is 1d6 plus 4 for both of you. So Omak and Manon.
Very nice. All right, so 9 to Obak. Actually, I can do this myself. 9 to Obak and 5 to Manon. Okay. All right. So, the large lumbering form of this creature with its legs cut from underneath it, kind of lays out the arms. The many arms of it kind of splayed out, much as the same way when you first saw Manon, right? The hand reaching through the reeds, the 2 arms still kind of reach forward now, just like that. So
Now that I see all of it, can I try to identify or see if I know anything about it using occultism?
absolutely. So go
Should
up
it
to
be
it.
private or open?
It should be open. Yeah, I like open. 22. So, yeah, as you approach the creature, right, you start to give it a look to see some things about it. There are some things about it that are familiar. Certainly, it is an undead creature of some sort. As you kind of study it, right, you can see the bones, right, you can see like what would have been, at least originally, a humanoid-like creature. Somehow, some way, kind of fused to, and as you look it over, it looks like whatever the under part of this creature, as best as you can place it, seems like a horse of some sort, right? Almost like the two had kind of fused through some sort of strange ritual of some sort. And identifying exactly what it is, unfortunately, although undead and you can name all of these things about it, the horse and all of that, you have never seen a creature like this entirely. And I would say, even with giving these details, even if you were to have rolled a natural 20 on this, this is completely new. This is not something familiar, not something that would be known in the world whatsoever. It seems like a strange abomination of some sort through necromantic magic.
Well, after trying to not throw up, I will relay that information to the rest.
I knew it. I said something was wrong. No one listened to me. Called me mad, he did. But look, this is what I mean. Though this was much, much worse than what I saw.
Did you know anyone from the village, Torsten?
I sold them potions well enough, but not like Obek. I didn't know them well.
Are any of these faces familiar?
I'll scrutinize them, GM.
As you look close, I'm gonna say you spend some time on this. So you, rather than having to make like a check or anything, you probably get the best bet that you're gonna get, right, as far as giving it a look over. A lot of the bodies that are attached to this thing seem to be in unfortunate stages of, unlife. But I will say, as you look close, you see, we'll say, a part of flesh that is yet to kind of give way. Still enough to kind of have some identifying features to it. You see what you think would have been the left side of the blacksmith's face of this old worksite village, but you're not 100% sure. You're like 70-30.
I'll sort of prod the flesh with one extended finger, looking horrified and disgusted. Could be. It's hard to say, man. They're too warped and too twisted. Could this be the old blacksmith's son? I don't know.
Manon will kind of nod and reach over to console him.
Oh, thank you. But I'm fine. I'm all right. Getting to the
Manon
bottom of this and
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, getting to the bottom of this and putting an end to it. That'll cheer me up.
Speaking of, Manon will kind of turn to look at the two elves who haven't spoken up yet, and state, what do you think of all this?
I say 1 minute. I am gonna pursue a lead on this right quick.
Okay, perfect.
Roll perception.
Absolutely. So the investigator ability of pursue a lead. Absolutely. So yeah, you spend some time studying this, right, ensuring that it is truly right in your mind. Okay. So let me see. And you already have the other one going, correct? So you have two. Am I not mistaken?
I can have 2 at any given time, and I can drop them if I want to, but I can only do 2.
Okay, perfect.
I
Yeah.
have-
So yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the
One from
rune
Earth.
from the city, and you have this creature now directly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you take a look at the creature. You ensure that it is burned in your memory, so that in any future instance of something along the lines like this, you, you'll have it available to you. Perfect. Akaya.
I turn to Torsten. How many more surprises do you think we might encounter?
Oh, damned if I know. I've seen corruption in the swamp, but nothing like this. This is a monster. Well and true. But I know there's one of these things, and there's probably others.
We will have to remain on our guards.
Can't speak to about how many there may be of this, but this is necromantic energy that created this thing. This is very unnatural.
Obok's just standing in the back chewing on his good berry.
Yeah. Kind of watching. If you could, since you are now wounded, what kind of wound does Obok now carry?
Yeah. He was like bludgeoned by fists, right?
Yeah. Oh no, not by fist, by a massive a weakened
the
log. Yeah.
Right. He's gonna have just like massive like bruising, so it's not really visible, but like massive bruising across like his rib cage, probably some like internal organ stuff that is beyond his comprehension.
Yeah. Or like a fractured rib, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You
Is
stand
there
there. Yeah.
any part of the thing which would be particularly representative of it?
Particularly representative of it, probably the creature's head, which, as you look at it, is more skeletal. Actually, no, I'll take it back. I would say one of the hands of the creature, right? Because they're massive, right? Elongated fingers. The palm itself is much wider than typical. This isn't like it's very obviously so not the hand of like a normal person or thing, right? It's very specific looking.
I will take my sickle and cut off one of the hands. Or wait, maybe first. Does someone have any spare cloths? I would like to preserve part of this beast as part of our investigation, such that we may have proof of our encounters when we return to the Throne of Iron.
Fortunately, I don't. If we're back in the city, I'd have plenty of tools and other items to take samples and such. But nonetheless, since we're not in the city, I have nothing of use.
Even though Manon does look a bit disturbed, not by him suggesting we keep things, but they kind of understand the importance of bringing back evidence, so they will take off their dueling cape and offer it as like a thing to wrap it in.
Thank you. So yeah, with my sickle, I slice one of the hands off and wrap it. Wrap it in a bundle, so as to keep it contained.
Manon, as you remove the dueling cape, is it obvious that you are without an arm?
Yeah.
Fair
It's
enough.
not there.
So a bit of a a strange parallel, right? Removing the dueling cape, right, and using it to hold a severed arm. But in any case, Kai, you carve through, place it in the cape, and kind of turn and ensure that it does not leave, and kind of, it is well wrapped and seemingly secured.
You can keep that, by the way. I'll just get a different one.
Thank you. It is of great help.
Alright. So, anybody else want to do anything with the creature's body?
Please
I'm
say
going to
no.
move over here by Torsten and ask him if you would like, I could treat any wounds that you may have.
I'm fine. I wasn't scratched, but thanks for the offer.
Oh crap! I meant Obak.
Oh, I think Obak is all good to go after the Coodberry. I think it would be Manon who was the only one with the remaining wounds.
Yeah, and I can't treat her for another day.
Oh, right. Because of the battle bonus. I don't know if it's another day. I think it's like another hour, right? You'd have to wait an hour. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
With-
Yeah.
With Trill's wound rules, I have to rest for a week to like remove the wounding condition, even though I'm full health.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the offer, but won't do much.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that'll always be there, looming as a threat, yeah. Alright, so, finishing up, maybe in the morning, after you finish resting, Anaster, you could probably take a look at the remaining wounds that Menon may have. So, as you all kind of finish up with the body, you each kind of head back to the to the small fire that you still have, kind of still flickering, still going, retaking your place to kind of, as difficult as it may be, right, finish out the evening, ensuring that you have enough energy for the following day. As you do so, the body of the creature kind of weighs so heavily. The swamp already, like if you stay for a moment and kind of watch, I mean, you can already see it slowly starting to kind of be pulled under. And so I will say that any watch that is done following Obox would be clear and good to go. And so I forgot the order that we had it in. I think I wrote it, but I didn't keep it. So either way, I think it ended with Torsten. So I'm not, I think that was the end. So as you finish out, the evening's watch, whoever's next, and then as the rest of the night goes to the following day, Torsten, you've had the full rest that you've needed, and so you kind of take the final watch, ensuring things around are as they need to be. And if you casually glance, take a look at the large corpse of the creature, you would see that by the time morning came, about half the creature was already kind of re-submerged, kind of rejoined with the swampland underneath, right? And soon enough,
Will sort of nod at this. This seems right to him. Let the swamp devour it,
fair enough,
and the insects and the worms take its body.
indeed. So, all right, with that then, we shall move on back to... There we go. All right. So, the rest of the evening's rest. If you want to, feel free to. So the way to take a like a full rest or is if you look at your character sheet, you should see under your max HP a little bed to say rest for the night. You click that, everything should be good to go. If it somehow removes the injured Obak, then I'm gonna re-add that. So. But also it does heal, although very little. So Menon, you probably get, yeah, you get one back. Yeah.
I'm fine.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
you'll have to have that back.
Okay. So. Obak. All right.
Want another berry, Manon? He'll say, thrusting berries in your direction.
I mean, if you're offering, they don't really taste like anything.
Don't say that. They taste fantastic.
Yeah.
Berry in his mouth and go ahead and toss you another berry.
Manon will gladly take it.
All right. So I think that'll be the full heal up, right? I think you're all set after that. Perfect. So, yeah, you awaken. You've had had a good berry, although I'm not entirely sure that's a single one is enough, right? For sustenance, I think it's like you have to eat all 6, but
Yeah,
in
you
any
need
case,
6 to actually get for a meal.
no. But in any
I can't
case,
make 6. Yeah, sorry, go.
well, no. In any case, you're able to, have the rest that you needed for the evening, and so with the early start, the morning has come, and so you can all kind of quickly pack away your things and continue on your journey.
It won't let me heal.
What? Oh, yeah, let me do it. It's just bringing you back up to 4, right? So should be 17. There you go. All right. Perfect. So, as you are waking up, Obak, as you move, it's a bit difficult, right? That busted rib makes it hard. You can't make any sudden actions without suffering a little bit of that, that almost like a knife in your ribs sort of feeling. But are able to settle whatever lean-to tent you may have had or what have you. And so, is there any words shared before you kick back off the travel, or is it just kind of an understanding of what happened previous evening and the need to continue, or does somebody want to turn back? Anything along those lines? Technically, you have some evidence, although maybe how compelling it may be is left in the air to you.
Yeah, I think Torsten will turn to I'm sorry that the name's still tripping me up here. Akaya,
Akaya.
Ikaya, yeah.
Akaya, and say, how much more evidence do you think we'll need to satisfy your boss?
The more, the better.
I have to agree with him. I don't think just this one piece of evidence, he could call that as just an anomaly, just a one-off.
Yes,
This would be enough
it's
to-
easy to hand wave a single hand. We need more.
All right. You're right. Very well. We'll keep going deeper. See what else we can find.
Let us continue onwards.
All right. So, Torsten taking up the lead again, right? Showing the way as you are well familiar with these swamps. If you could roll me a swamp check.
Law swamp or survival?
Say
Or nature, which is the.
Well, the DC is easier if you use like specific lore swamp, right?
Okay, I'll use law swamp then.
Yeah.
I think I'll hero point that.
All right. Hero point that.
I'm supposed to be good at. Oh, whoops. Oh god, fucking damn. Oh well. I guess
Even
it's a 9.
even the most experienced at times, right, can find themselves lost, especially among the high reeds, and especially because it would seem for some strange reason, Torsten, as you take lead and start to lead the way through the swamps as you had done the previous day. Previous day was so easy, but that part of the swamp doesn't change very much, right? It's you've got plenty of telltale signs on where to go. You've got the forest that looms in the direct, like in the distance, so it's easy to kind of place yourself in the direction you need to be over there. Out further into the swamps, as you start to make your way deeper and deeper still, the forest behind you is kind of lost itself, right? It's if you're even able to see it above like the high reeds, it's nothing but off in the distance, far along. And unfortunately, out here, I mean, it seems like things change quickly, or things that used to not change have changed quite a bit. The markers that you would have used in the past to, guide your way along, seem to have all but disappeared. And it isn't maybe an hour or two into traversing that, as you stand there with these 4 individuals who are all kind of relying on you to know the way, specifically, right, to really know your way around this area, you realize that you are just completely and utterly lost. And as you look around, nothing, I mean, it's all familiar because you're familiar with these swamps, but nothing is what you think it should be, I guess you could say.
In which case, you'll see probably Torsten, like before he was sort of confidently leading the group through the swamp, and then every so often he'll sort of be slowing down. He'll be stopping and checking the ground and frowning, and then moving forward a bit, and then sort of stopping again. And eventually, he'll sort of come to a total stop and sort of turn around to the group and be like, I don't know where we are.
Wait, are you serious? You might have a look kind of mortified.
Yeah. Guys, I'm serious. I wouldn't joke about something like this. The swamp feels different somehow. Did I take a wrong turn? I couldn't have, right? But this place, I don't recognize it. Something's off. Something's different.
Do you think we're gonna get attacked again?
Obak will draw his polearm.
Yeah.
I'll draw out my crossbow, getting it ready.
The paranoia already setting in as everybody starts to draw their weapons.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. I've lived in these swamps for 15 years. I know them like the back of my hand, but again, he'll look almost helpless, like sort of like looking left and right, looking at the trees.
Can we see the sky, GM?
Yeah. You look up, you can see the sky. I mean, it's a bit clouded, but not enough to obscure, right? Like too much more. But yeah, there's not like such an overhang of reeds that you're like, you're traveling through the dark or anything like that. Yeah, you have the open sky above your head.
Okay. I want to try something, but I know Manon's too stupid. But I'm gonna try it anyways.
Fair enough.
Well, what direction are we supposed to be headed in, Torsten?
Well, we were. We took the right path to the village, right, Jim?
Yeah, so I'll say,
Yes.
to answer, you were traveling, so from where you were is south of you now, and you should have been traveling east. So.
Okay, we were heading east. So we've gotten mixed up. I'm not sure which direction we're facing.
Can I do like the sun rises in the east, sets in the west thing?
Sure,
and
yeah, fair
try and
enough.
find my way.
Yeah, roll me a survival check.
Okay, good. Yay!
So you look up, Manon. You see sky. Maybe even erase like your fingers, right, to kind of, the whole like measuring the time, right? Each finger is about an hour or so. And you kind of look.
Man would not know that.
Yeah. But it's like all in the act,
Yes.
because you feel extremely confident, and you turn and you point, and you're like, that way is east. It
That
surely is.
sounds-
Sun rises in the west.
Can I roll a survival check on this?
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Although I will say, because it's been tried before, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. So.
Okay.
Well, and this is how the campaign ends. We just wander around the swamp.
So, Annister, the direction Menon pointed is east.
It's not east.
You wholeheartely believe it. Yeah, that's east. 100%. Menon is right. That is east. And it's basically, we'll say it's not in direct conflict with the direction that you've been heading so far. So it's not like an immediate like turn around and go exactly the way you came. So that leaves a bit of the ambiguity there, right? You're really unsure. Well, Madden and Annister, the two of you are not unsure. You are fully sure that direction is east.
I'm in full agreement with Brandon. I think this is the direction we need to go. But then again, I am from the city. This is not my area of expertise.
Well, I think maybe Torsten got turned around a little bit. We're not that far from where he was headed. We just have to make a minor adjustment.
I'm not sure about this. Fine then, I guess. Fine.
Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're lost too.
Wait. At least
Yeah.
Obak will have a moment of clarity and say, wait a minute. Torsten, didn't you find Manon just aimlessly wandering through the swamp? They aren't known for being...
I just got distracted, okay?
Well, if Annister's backing you up, I suppose Obak will kind of reluctantly agree to going east.
Yes.
Location.
Absolutely. Fair enough. So, Torsten, do you still lead, or at this moment, having been lost and all of that, and
I think all discipline is broken down. I imagine that it's like me. It's probably like me, Manon, and sorry, you don't have your characters.
Annister.
It's probably Annister, all sort of like jostling to arguing over which direction is east this week.
Fair enough.
So you can get deeper into the swamp and more lost.
Fair enough. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, you have to pick a direction, right? You can't stand in the middle of nowhere. And I think what helps spurs that on as well, beyond the extreme confidence that both Manon and Annister have at, they know that direction is east, that's the way you need to be going, right? But what kind of spurs it on, maybe for the rest of the group who's a bit hesitant about things, the tall reeds around you shift, right? Maybe it was the wind, but maybe it's something else, and hearing that, that shuffling of the reeds brings back memories of the previous evening, and so it's, what? Fuck it, right? And so you start to make your way in the direction that Manon and Annister both have certified is the direction that you need to be going. And so you start to travel that way, further and further into the swamps. We'll say an hour passes at first, potentially a second, and you're just not finding much of anything. You look around. I will say, what becomes apparent is that the area that you're moving into, the water part of it is becoming deeper, which I'll say, with your experience, Torsten, you know, is probably not a good sign. Knowing these swamps, even for somebody who is very well traveled, right? Maybe it was just heavy rains lately, right? That's another thing, because you're also lost, so you're not fully sure about that. But as the water gets deeper and deeper, there are definitely things in the swamp worse, potentially, than that thing that you had come across the previous evening. And if there is something in the swamp, in the marshlands, that is changing these creatures, if it were to get a hold of one of these, one of these others that you may find, and having twisted it in some sort of strange way, who knows what danger lurks. So,
Right, yeah, I'll stop the group and be like, no, this ain't right. This isn't the right way. We're heading deep into the wetlands. This is dangerous. Look, and he'll grab a stick and he'll sort of stick it into the water just to show how deep it's getting.
Yeah, you're avoiding it mostly, thankfully, because of like dry patches that you can walk across. But the water is absolutely getting deeper. And even with that, as you kind of put a stick down in, right, showing, maybe the stick doesn't even touch a bottom. Like, you have to reach down into the water itself to continue the stick, trying to kind of like, reach out for a bottom of the water, or whatever this land is. As you're doing that, you hear a sudden kind of splash, like a sudden movement of water, right? In the distance, I'm going to say this is apparent to all 5 of you. In the distance, so it's not right next to you, but something certainly caused an amount of water to kind of splash up and move. Could it have been a fish, right? Hunting for bugs or whatever? Something larger? It's hard to know.
Well, last night was pretty dangerous, and even though Obak and I almost died, I think maybe we can handle it. Though I'm not a strong swimmer.
So you almost died, and you can't swim. You can't swim well. You're not selling this to me, Manon. We're damn this. I think that Torsten will he's gonna like grab his bag, and he's gonna open it and let Baggy crawl out.
Okay.
And then he's gonna go ahead and try and cast the guidance spell on himself. He's going to
Have any of us met Becky?
that's a good question. I'm not sure if you would or not.
Obak has probably seen them before.
Yeah. In which case, it's about 2.5 feet tall. It looks like a sort of strangely humanoid plant creature with little sort of graspy twig arms. And I don't know if I showed you all the picture down below. Here we go. A slightly kind of creepy face that kind of just stares at all of you as it's taken out of the bag.
What an amusing creature.
I'm going to step back a little bit.
Yeah, sure. She ain't gonna hurt you. She's harmless. She's harmless, ain't you, Baggy? Yes, you are, you kitty. Yes, you are.
Wait,
Right, but
you call it baggy and it came out of your bag?
yeah, I'm not great at naming things, I admit.
I think that's a great name.
Oh, thank you, Manon. Thank you. Anyway, let's see if we can do this together, Baggy. Come on. Which way do you think's north, Baggy? Which way do you think's north? And I'm gonna go ahead and cast the guidance spell.
Okay. So
on myself. Yeah.
So it gets
and
the
have Baggy
+1.
provide. Yeah, and have Baggy provide me with aid. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and try survival this time. See if I do any better. Oh, come on.
15. It's enough to know that the direction that you've been going in is absolutely not east. Maybe you knew that already, and the deepening water just kind of confirmed any suspicions that you may have had. You've been going the wrong way. In fact, you've been going when you should have been going east. Maybe a moment of insight as you try to figure out where you've been, right? Where this would have started and where you're at now. You've been going north. So it's almost like where you are in relation to at least the place that you know the road is. At the very least, if you just travel from where you are now, if you just travel directly west with no interruptions, you will eventually reach the road again. The road that is carved through the swamplands, right? That you've kind of wanting to get further into the marshlands itself, you've done away from. So at the very least, if you're wanting to get back to the main road, you have to go west from here, no matter what.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And if you're wanting, and I should say, if you're wanting to go to the place that was originally planned, it's gonna be a bit more difficult. You're gonna have to kind of judge by a general distance, and you're probably gonna have to kind of almost search in like a zone area, right? Like circle.
Okay. I think we just need to get our bearings back. So I think Torsten's just going to lead them west back to the road.
Okay. Yeah, that'll, at the very least, you'll know exactly where to go once you reach the road, right?
Yeah.
So you start to make that way. Having decided this is the way we need to be going, right? Let's get some understanding of where we are to us. And so as you start to make head off in that direction, if you all could roll me perception checks, please.
My question is, why didn't Torsten use Baggy earlier?
Because he's an arrogant old man. He thought he could do it without him.
Okay. So for everybody except Torsten in this moment, it's enough to just know where to place your feet, right? Being aware of your surroundings is very difficult for you all at this moment, right? You're traveling through much deeper marshland, right? You're having to jump into the water, and for the dwarves, right, it's even deeper than before, right? So you're having to like just hold your weapon and whatever backpack you may have like directly overhead, and just barely avoid the water, kind of completely covering up your face. It is that deep at some points. So as you're kind of, yeah, yeah. And we'll get to the critical fail on the Anister's check.
Okay.
As you travel along, again, for all of you, it's just enough to be aware of where to place your foot, where to step, where to how to maneuver through all of this. And Torsten is making it look a lot easier than it is, especially physically, for the rest of you. It's very, very tough. Torsten, as you are leading the party, you have this realization, and you hear this sound again, this almost like clapping of water, right? Almost like a spray of water, kind of like a sudden burst and then like a splashing, right? These are all sounds normal to this area, but for you, that normality is a problem right now, because what is normal in the deeper portion of the swamp is very much something to be fearful of.
Okay.
You get the feeling that you are being followed now, and you're being followed by something big, something that is slowly taking its time before springing upon you all. There are creatures in the deeper portions of the swamplands that are ambush creatures, right? They wait for a perfect opportunity, a perfect moment to, spring upon those who may straggle behind, or, right? Typically, they won't come at the full group, but they will look to pick off what they can. And that is when you notice that Anister is nowhere to be found. You look back at the party. It's you, it's Obak, Manon, and Akai. And you're like, wait. They're not there.
Where's Anister gone?
Obak will look up from, his feet as he's been very focused on staying upright. We'll take a look around and be like, he was just here a second ago.
So. Alright. Anister, if you could please make me a reflex saving throw.
Okay.
15. Okay, so as you're walking, traveling along with the others, maybe you've taken up, it's been a bit more difficult for you to keep up with them. So maybe you've unfortunately fallen to the back, right? As the others have traversed through all this. And in a lapse of judgment, you weren't watching where you should have been watching, and even Torsten himself probably did not point this out, but you put your foot down, and suddenly you are underwater completely. Without a sound, without a splash, nothing. Your body just gives way as the earth grabs a hold of you and pulls you down. Obak, Torsten, Akaya, and Manon, as the realization that Anister is gone, falls over you, roll me another perception check. Or another check to kind of check the surroundings as best as possible. Oof. So, perfect. You all start to look, right? Where do you go, right? Looking in each of your own directions. Anister, you are underwater, and you are pinned, trapped underneath. Earth up to your waist, holding you down, and as you open your eyes, you can see the light above you. You can see the light pouring in from the water, and you are holding your breath as much as you can, holding it, right? You're caught off guard by this moment, right? So you're not on a full breath, right? And a lot of the earth is kind of squeezed a bit out of you as it kind of pinned you down to the ground. As you are trapped in this moment, unable to breathe, what are you doing?
I'm trying to use a survival trait to try to, try to swim, push out of this.
Okay. Fair enough. You kind of push at it. This earth is so heavy, right? The muck of the swamp is just so heavy on your legs, and as you do your best to just kind of pull away anything, and you're kind of thrashing underwater, but unfortunately that thrashing that you're doing underwater is not doing much above water. So you're fighting with everything you have in you, pulling away at the earth that now anchors you to the bottom of the swamp. With a 24, Obak, as you're looking around, you hear bubbles. But where they are exactly, is a bit tough, and as you know, maybe you use your weapon to push aside some of these reeds again, you see this open pool in front of you. You can't see the bottom of it. You just see a couple of bubbles make their way to the top. Not like a whole breath, but like a few.
Alright, using the handle end of my polearm, I'll kind of like check the depth of this pool and kind of try and reach the bottom with it.
Okay. You lean forward, trying to push the blade to the bottom as best as possible, right? Or are you so you're using the handle end, sorry, you're not using the blade.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. All right, perfect. So as you're kind of reaching down, doing what you can, Akaya, with that natural 1 on that perception, you go looking around as well, doing your best to try and find Anister, who is suddenly just, as a moment, you know, no sound, no nothing. They were there, and now they're gone, and doing what you can to find them. The party is kind of splitting a little bit in the swamps, right? Nobody is back to back here. Everybody's wanting to find Anister, so I want to say all 4 of you are kind of like starting to fan out in your own directions. And so, Akaya, as you start to kind of make your way through, you're thinking like, oh, maybe they turned over here, and like, you know, maybe you're reaching around over here, right? Like there's a path, maybe like a circle, and you could reach the other side, and maybe they just went that way. So you start to go, right? You start to do what you can. And all around you, you see these large, deep pools that you can't see the bottom of. And each one is kind of, for a moment, bubbling. A little bit of water, right? Some sort of trapped air is coming to the top and kind of making itself known. And you see 3 pools, like one to your left, one to your right, and one up ahead that's kind of just narrowly separated by a small strip of land. And in all 3, as you start to walk in this direction, bubbles. Anister. Anister. You weren't able to remove yourself from the mud, and as you look up into the light above you, the vision starts to dim just a little bit, but you're still holding on. What else would you like to try?
Let me try athletics to see if I can break out.
Okay, absolutely.
Oh,
There we go. So, perfect. Obak, as you are pushing your polearm down into the depths of this water, you finally hit what you think is the bottom, right? And then you feel like a grasp at the end of the polearm, and it is heavy. You think you have Anister. You think you found Anister. The bubbling, all of that, right? There's now something grabbing a hold of your polearm. So what are you doing? As something like grabs and kind of pulls it from you momentarily, but you keep your grip on it.
I think I got him. He's down here. And then I'll try and just like, if he's, I'm presuming, holding on to the other end, I'm going to try and pull the pole up.
Okay, so go ahead and make me an athletics check as well as you try to, anchor yourself.
Yeah.
You pull, but the mud is kind of
Blade
slipping
end is hard.
Yeah, it's very hard to hold on to it without cutting yourself, but also the mud underneath your feet is starting to slip and kind of pull and drag you along. Whatever is on the opposite end of this, as you put your strength into it, it's almost like you're pulling yourself closer to the water, right? You're kind of pulling yourself as if you're going to have to take a step in to the water, right? You're unable to really draw your weapon back any further. Obak calls it out. So Menon and Torsten, you hear, right? You hear Obak say that he's found him, right? And so what do you do?
Yeah, Menon will kind of paddle over and they'll draw out some rope from their backpack.
Okay.
And they'll ask, should one of us dive down there? Is it safe to do that? Like for both of both? the person who dives and for Annister?
I'm not too sure. He seems good and stuck under there. Oh, wow, he's strong. I don't remember him being so heavy. Oh, as I'm trying to pull and really struggling.
The swamp has hidden currents. It'll be dragging him down. Whatever you do, don't go in the water. Just try and get him that rope and pull as hard as you can. I'll do what I can to help here, and I'll go ahead and cast a spell that I honestly didn't think I'd get to use. I'll cast Sprout.
Sprout. Okay. Water blast upwards, coming out of the ground, rising from a pool, or even manifesting from thin air. Any creatures in the air take bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting, with a basic reflex saving throw, which means they take half if they fail or if they succeed. I think that's the way it is, or it's one of those things. It changes to a 5-foot burst, provided you center in the body of water. Okay. So,
yep, he's going to pull out a little sort of tress of holly and begin sort of channeling energy, and little sort of green lights will dance around him. And he's going to try and implore the swamp to create a spout of water underneath Alistar to sort of force him out the hole.
okay. Fair enough. So, concentrate for a moment. Spout, yeah. I think I'm gonna roll damage on that.
Yep.
If it'll let you.
Sorry, Alistar. Sorry, Alistar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep, yep, yep. Makes sense.
Better than drowning.
Fair enough. Okay.
There you go. 5.
5 points of damage. So, so you sprout the water right underneath in this moment. Like, Annister's at the bottom. You're trying to get them out everything you can. The water rises and blasts out, and as you're pulling on your weapon, Obak, you rip back with everything you have, right? Trying to use the sprout and all of your strength all in this one quick movement. And as you lift your blade up, as the sprout of water bursts from underneath, a large green figure emerges from the swamp, holding onto the end of your weapon, and it is thrown upwards and forward, and so it comes forward and collapses, crashes into you. Make me a reflex saving throw, Obak, as it is thrown from the water into you, like tackling you basically. Okay, enough that it slams into you and you spins off your body. You're able to keep a hold of your weapon, but whatever is holding onto it just kind of goes free and tumbles through the reeds in the distance. You're able to keep your stance, not slipping underneath the water, right? Or not slipping prone onto your back. It is at this moment that Annister, you burst from underneath the water in an area very different than where Torsten, Obak, and Amanon now find themselves. You pull yourself free. You've been able to rip yourself from the mud, and you throw yourself up onto the bank. You can actually hear the chaos kind of going on around you. You kind of look across, and they're probably about 30 feet away from you across the marshland fields, right? You see them all kind of standing around this this whole thing. We'll say you see the whole thing. You see the green figure kind of bursting from underneath the water, slamming into Obak and kind of tumbling down. Akaya, and all of this. The 3 bubbling pools, and you hear this sudden burst of water, the spray, right, the splashing of the water. You turn your head and look in that direction. Find yourself about 20-25 feet away from them, but quickly as you kind of turn back at the pools, the bubbling has stopped in the 3, and from the furthest one from you, you see the strange green slick-skinned head just rise from underneath the water's edge, and these 2 glaring large black eyes peering directly at you. So, as all of this has happened, Torsten, I need you to give me a swamp check here for the knowledge of what these things might be and whether or not you should stand or if you should run.
Come on, Torsten. This is supposed to be your expertise, buddy.
Supposed to be your expertise. 13, it's enough. It's enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you needed. This is a bare minimum roll. These creatures, what you've just seen sprout from underneath the water, slamming into Obak, and what you haven't seen being the three that now currently basically surround Akaya from the various pools that are in each direction around him. The one that you've seen, at least, you know there's always more than one. There are packs of these types of creatures. They hunt together. They seemingly are unbothered by the swamp, the water, all that. They can move freely like it is completely natural to them because this is their home. In the back of your mind, whatever it was that was following you, though, I guess I have to put it a little bit meta for it to kind of make sense. Whatever was following you may have just found a better meal with these green skinned creatures.
Okay. So sorry, just to clarify here.
Yeah.
We spot this strange green creature.
Yeah, you burst it from underneath the water, right?
Yep. Yeah. Was it the thing that grabbed Anastar?
Anister just slipped underneath a sinkhole.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So these things hunt in packs, and you think they're targeting us, the green skinned creatures?
I'm gonna say that you think they're targeting you, yes, but there's also something else,
another large creature,
that you are aware of. Yeah,
that may prefer to eat one of these rather than us.
Yeah, and all of the sudden commotion may have drawn its attention further to really come in and investigate instead of rather kind of hunt you from a distance. Right.
In which case, if I have a roughly good idea of where the large creature is and the green screen creatures, then I'm just gonna shout to the party, "Run! Follow me!" and run in the direction that takes me further away from the large creature. Hopefully, bringing the. I'm not sure if it's easy to understand what I'm trying to say here.
Trying to run away. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure that if the large creature is pursuing us, it's gonna have to go through the green skinned creatures and hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Target them instead.
Fair enough. Okay. Absolutely. So, yeah, you turn, you shout to the others to follow you, and you just take off, right? You don't even bother to check on them to ensure that they're right behind you, right? You sprint away. Obak, you've been able to keep your feet from underneath you, and you've seen the creature, you've seen the direction that the creature kind of bounced off of you and kind of slid into. You see the tall reeds in that area start to kind of wave wildly as whatever is in them is going to surely like come out and try to figure out what is going on, right? And so as the reeds kind of wave wildly, and you hear Torsten, who has been your guide so far, tell you like run, right? What are you doing?
I'm gonna follow orders and take off towards Torsten, trusting his judgment of the situation.
Okay,
Wait.
Manon.
Did Anister get... Like, is he still under the water?
No. Anister is prone on the edge of a bank of the swamp that is about 30 feet away from you all right now. So we're
don't
going
really
to...
know that,
yeah.
though, do we?
Yeah, you don't really know that. Yeah. Maybe in the mix of it all, you probably didn't pick up that you've heard him. But in any case, we're going through based on who can start to move first. I'm going to go down the line and we'll find out what Anister is doing.
So, Manon doesn't know that Anister is out of the water. Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly.
They're going to hesitate.
Yeah, but you have Torsten saying, look, we got to get out of here.
Right, but...
I've lost confidence in him too. It's fine.
But
I won't take it
Anister,
personally.
like, in the last fight, brought Manon back from one. So they would care about him. So I guess they'll hesitate and, like, look around to see.
Okay, so instead of we'll say instead of spinning your action turning to sprint, you stop for a moment and you look around and try to see if you can find Anister, right? Knowing that this potential like finding spot wasn't enough to find them, right? Like you stumbled upon something else. So go ahead and roll me a perception check. Actually, I'll say if you're spinning the action to do it, you just look around, and instead of like buy into the sense to run immediately, and basically like the order, I guess you could say, like Torsten kind of called out, right, or the suggestion. I'll say that just spinning your action to hesitate, not move, and actually just tried to find Anister, looking around, quickly enough. I'm gonna say you see Anister like pulled up, completely drenched in water, and just kind of like back against the ground, right, having just escaped the pool of the sinkhole beneath.
Okay.
So, all right, so you see him, and I'll say that you have enough to like articulate that and everything, right? So like Anister, you've emerged finally. That breath of fresh air kind of hits your lungs, right? And then you hear like run, and you look around and you just see Torsten and Obak jet, right? They just go bursting through in a direction that you're currently laid prone. But you see, I'll say that you see Manon standing there, like looking around. Maybe the two of you kind of like lock eyes, like, oh, right. You see each other now.
And I stand up and take my arms and like, what the hell?
Yeah, you stand up, you raise your arms. What the hell? All right. In this moment, you're about 20, 30 feet away from each other. Yeah, Manon, how do you respond? As like Anister's like, what the fuck,
I guess I'll try to move towards him.
Okay.
If it's possible.
Yeah, we'll say you just start to you rush over to them. All right. I should ask, Manon, what is the feeling in this moment? Are you feeling like, are you visibly scared of what's happening?
Well, no, I'm just confused. Like
Confused? Absolutely. Okay.
Maybe what's going on through Manon's mind right now is maybe the mud is like unstable, so everyone might fall into it. Because I don't really understand like what the green, because you described it as like a muddy green mass. Is that correct?
As best as possible. Yeah, that you would have seen in a flash. Yeah, you would have seen probably like like this thin, like almost leathery looking green skin as it was like emerged from the water, and then like rammed right into Obak, and then kind of just went disappearing into the reeds, bouncing off.
Yeah, I don't think Manon would have been able to comprehend that,
Okay.
and is more concerned of like the task that they were doing of looking for Anister and trying to get him out of the mud.
Fair enough. Okay, so you rush over to Anister, right? Like ensuring that Anister's okay. Anister, you're confused, right? So we'll say in the moment, as all of this is happening, as Torsten and Obak have like run for their lives, the two of you are just like, oh, like what the fuck's going on, kind of thing, right? Like trying to figure out what's happening. And so, Akaya, as you've stood there, the bubbling stopped, and you see just lifting up narrowly out of the water these two round black eyes coming from this strange kind of like leathery green skin, as the head, humanoid in nature, just barely kind of pierces the top of the water, and you see it staring right at you. What are you doing? And then you hear Torsten yell like, run.
How far away is this head?
So, the head is about 20 feet, but you have two pools next to you that had bubbles initially, that are probably about like 10 feet on either side, that had bubbles initially, just like this third one did, that have also stopped. And you like maybe you take a quick glance to look at the bottom of them, but they're so deep you can't see the bottom. So you see one, and it's 20 feet away, but intuition would probably tell you if there was bubbles coming from that one, then there should be bubbles from these other two, and that means that there's at least three.
Which direction is Torsten running in?
Torsten and them, they are rushing west. Yeah, so from behind you, I mean, you heard them because you were kind of walking away from them. You've heard them, right? And you've heard, and maybe you've turned and you've seen them running away.
So they're running away from me, or
Yeah.
are they running in my direction?
They're running away from you.
Okay.
So if you don't keep up, then you will be basically all alone out here.
Yes.
From your perspective. Yeah.
I will follow them, and even since it's a cantrip, I warp step and follow. Having heard the cry to run, so yeah.
Absolutely. Okay,
Cover
so you
more
warp step.
distance. Yeah,
Yeah,
warp
absolutely.
step. Cover more distance than it looks like I should have. For the
Absolutely.
speed that I'm going at, but.
So, as you turn and you start to rush away, following Torsten and the sounds, that is when 3 figures from the pools around you will burst through the water, and immediately you turn. You have your back turned to them, right? So you're running away from them, full stop. But you can hear the sounds as these 3 creatures, whatever they might be, burst through the water and seemingly give chase behind. So, you go rushing past, running, the 3 figures sprinting after you as fast as they could potentially go. And so, Annister and Menon, as you stood there, right, you now hear and you see Akaya come rushing by. And then you see these 3 humanoid figures giving chase, but the way they're giving chase, they are like going in wide arcs. They're purposely bursting through the reeds on all sides, like 3 predators, trying to swoop in from either side. And they give chase, and it seems like they haven't noticed you. So, like, as everybody kind of goes rushing off in this one direction, the 2 of you are like kind of standing next to each other, and you're just kind of looking like, what the fuck, right? As all of this activity is just suddenly started with this chase through the swamps.
What should we do, Annister? This is.
I think we need to follow our companions. It doesn't look too good for us.
You hear me shout after Torsten, "Keep running!"
Yeah.
Don't
Keep
turn back.
running. Yeah. I'll say that you, at this point, I mean, you're running, but you hear more figures, more than you would assume should be following you, kind of bursting through reeds and all of that behind you. So you hear this mess. Those of you who ran first, so Torsten and Obak, you hear this mess of noise from behind as this chase scene now begins.
I guess
So.
we should run too.
Just watch your step.
Okay. Yeah.
Here.
Fair enough. So the 2 of you start to rush to catch up, right? To stay with the others. I need the 2 of you, since you are in the rear, to give me perception checks. All right. So, Manon, you don't hear anything. You just rush, right? You start to go, right? To get out of here. Whatever is going on, whatever's following, the people you've been traveling with, this whole thing is kind of like a confusing mess of a situation, right? As things just kind of have all kicked off from various points in the swamp. Annister, though, as you go to catch up with the others, I mean, you're dripping with water, right? You're completely soaked through. As you start to rush, you hear behind you an inhuman growl of sorts, right? And then you hear popping of bone and what have you. And then you hear this momentary screech, this high-pitched screech, and you hear the reeds behind you just jostling extremely violently. to your best intuition, something has gotten a hold of something else, and it is currently finishing it off. And so you rush away, right, with the maybe a bit of confirmation in your mind, like, holy shit, maybe we should be running, right? So
Right.
yeah, and so you've got that confirmation, and the two of you, Manon and Annister, the two of you just sprint as hard as you can, trying to catch up to the others, listening to what is happening further ahead. So, as you are running, Torsten and Obak, if you give me, I mean, if you're running through a swamp, so there are a number of checks you can make here to ensure that you don't go down, right? You don't fail your footing. Athletics, acrobatics, nature, whatever you want it to be.
You said I could roll with nature, is that right, Jim?
Yeah, whatever you would like. Perfect. Yeah, so you two are fine. You're rushing, right? You've got your foot to you. Actually, Torsten, you're leading much more confidently through this area. Maybe the water level is like slightly starting to lower a bit, so you're able to move a bit easier. And Obak, you're just smart enough to know, like, to just take the steps of the person in front of you. As long as they're not going down, you're not going to go down. And so you keep up. Akaya, if you could, whatever kind of check you would like to make here.
These are all the things that I'm not good at.
Oof. So you're rushing as best as you can. I mean, you can see the figures occasionally through the reeds and the the water and such. You can see Torsten and Obak, right, keeping pace further up ahead, and you're trying your best to keep up. But with a 6 in total, your foot is going to catch onto some sort of root that comes through, that just lifts itself up off of the ground, and you feel it grab a hold and twist your foot, maybe even a slight pop as you go down face first, slamming into the marsh ground. The soaking ground itself kind of catching you as you kind of slide along it for a moment, finally coming to a stop, your ankle immediately kind of swollen and in pain, and 3 green figures kind of emerge suddenly through the reeds, and they all are angled on you, like, basically, except for behind you, any direction that you could go as you look and face them, they are kind of swooping in on. But as you've kind of fallen and stopped, they too have stopped, and you see them now clearer. They look like as best as you can describe it, like a frog, right? But they look like humanoid frogs. They're standing, they have humanoid like heads. They don't have like the large, kind of thick frog body that you would expect. It's much more human in nature, but the webbed hands, these strange kind of long claws on either hand. It looks like, like if you blended a human and a frog, so to speak. And they kind of stop and they stare at you with these large black eyes. One of them has a weapon in hand. It looks like this rudely crafted spear of some sort. And they all kind of come to a stop, and they're all just kind of studying you, looking, and you can see them kind of looking to and from each other to see like who's going to make the first move in this moment. So as they start to surround Manon and Annister, 2 of you are rushing from behind. I'll say that you hear Torsten like, ugh, right? The sudden trip and slamming of the body on the ground, right? So you know that he's fallen up ahead, right? So as you kind of rush forward, the two of you. It only takes a
All right,
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll turn to Obek and I'll be like, Obok, sorry, and I'll be like, ah, damn it, they can't keep up. I don't have the strength to carry a Mobok. I need you with me.
I have the strength, but why can't they keep up? Look at their legs compared to ours. Pathetic.
I agree, but there's no time for that. Let's get. We have to.
So.
Let's sort of lift his shield and rush back to help them.
Okay, so you rush back to help. All right, and Manon and Annister, the two of you, it only takes a moment before you catch up, and as you kind of step through the reeds, you see Annister. You see Akaya on his back, right? With these three green, strange figures kind of looming around him, and they are like going in, like they're going in for the kill.
How many feet away would you say they are from me?
From you,
From
they're probably about 20 feet. And from Akaya, they're probably about 10, right? So 20 to you, and then from them to Akaya, 10.
I'm gonna cast Daze on one of them.
Okay. All right. So.
Like whichever one seems to Manon to be the one that might attack first, if Manon can judge that.
Okay. Yeah, one has a weapon in hand. Maybe that's the one has this this very crude rudiment spear. So you cast Daze. All right. Let me lock this in. Okay. Annister, would you have wanted to do something as you kind of like burst and see, or you see kind of Manon already starting to, work up this spell in this moment?
I'm gonna get my crossbow out.
Okay, she's just gonna kind of reach for it and try to arm yourself, right? Get it ready to go.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So, all right. Torsten and Obak, the two of you have turned. You've kind of rushed back to the others, and moving at the way you've been moving. It's not long before you kind of come bursting through the other side, right? And you see Akaya on his back, kind of, pushing himself away from these three figures. And as you kind of burst through, you see them. I need Torsten and Obak to give me perception checks here. When it's mattered, Torsten, it's really mattered. And so, Obak, you're just ready with a weapon, right? You see these three figures, these strange, like frog-like things, right? You're just ready to go. You're ready to kill. Torsten, you see the reeds behind Manon and Annister. You see Annister first, right? He was saved, right? So there's that, at least, right? You recognize, like you see him. Oh, thank God, like somebody got him. But you see the tall reeds behind Manon and Annister shift heavily, like something very big has suddenly caused this major uproar behind, and you hear the sound of like unearth, and something is rushing in your direction. And before it is able to break through the clearing, before Manon you're able to even cast Daze and get this fight going, as whatever it is that has been stalking is now here in full with these three strange frog-like creatures closing in to kill Akaya. I think this is a perfect time to stop here, and we'll pick up next time, resolving what you have stumbled upon, what has stumbled upon you, and how all of that is going to get taken care of. So I'm gonna go ahead and settle things on my end, but I appreciate you all for playing. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna go ahead and sign out on the stream and everything, so I'll just be back in just a few moments. But yeah, thank you all for playing. I hope you enjoyed. So give me a second, I'll be
No
right
problem.
back.
Thanks for running the session, Trill.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so thank you all for hanging out, checking it out. Yeah, well, we actually had a fight at the start of this session, and potentially, I'm not going to say 100%, because there could be a way to work it out, but potentially a fight at the start of the third session as well. But in any case, thank you all for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back this Monday to continue our Monday campaign, Valdiran Nights. Everything is kind of, heating up over there as well. So thanks for ruining the session. It's all good. But yeah, hope you all had a good day or a good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and maybe we'll see you next time. So thank you all for playing. Hope you have a good one. Peace.